Okay guys, so in the last video I said hopefully I'd have the engine bolted in some stage this week, and I did yesterday. So currently that big donkey there is actually physically bolted onto those two bolts that you can see by the G-clamp, two on each side. They hold up the subframe, and that's got its bolts in. So there you go, that's where it sits, thereabouts. It's currently got no box of cogs behind it there. Great big vacant drive, no gears at all. So that is the next challenge, is basically stick a box of cogs onto the back of the noisy thing, make it fit inside the people holding device. So I did suspect there was going to be a little bit of an issue with the power steering. I want to run the mechanical pump that fits onto the VK56 because it's better than running an electric pump, in my opinion. Electric pump is okay. We've got an MR2 one that came with the Sylvia. It's under that pile of rubbish over there. That would work out, but it's got its own set of challenges. I've got to find somewhere to fit it inside this engine bay that's going to look nice. We've got to get a power supply to it. We're going to put the battery in the boot on this one, so just starts adding up with the challenges. So I've drawn some marks down here. Those marks are where the mount for the power steering pump would foul on that chassis rail by about 10mm or so. So I'm actually going to talk to our Low Volume Vehicle Technical Association guys and see whether it's okay with them just to put a bit of a notch in that chassis and seal it all off, etc. Do it all properly. I'm sure it'll be fine, but you check with them before you do these things. And then we fit our mechanical pump in there. And the good news is there's two tangs that hang out the side there on this side. That's for the air conditioning pump. As you can see, there's quite a lot of room on that side, so we can actually run the air conditioning as well. So that'll be awesome. And just thinking out loud and looking at where that water pump is, thinking about the rotation of dooflickies, stuff and things, we can probably run the fan off something similar like a VG30DE or something like that, and we can put a viscous fan on the front of this instead of electric fans and put a nice big radiator in here, and that'll be awesome. Electric fans are cool because you can turn them on and off as required, etc. Viscous fans, you just can't beat the flow that you can get out of a viscous fan, and you don't have to worry about extra wires and all that sort of crap. They generally don't fail. They just go and they work really well. So that, in my opinion, is probably a better idea. So coming into the people holding the structure here, aka the cabin, you can see the hole in the transmission tunnel there. I've chipped away at all the insulation. It's pretty old insulation. You can see those little round circles everywhere. I've actually just given it a bit of a tap with a ball peen hammer. Just whack, 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 quite quietly. You don't have to do it particularly hard. Because it's old sound dampening / heat insulation, it just literally cracks and falls apart. So that's one trick for you fellas. You can see the hole in the trans tunnel there that someone's put in there to put a manual gearbox in this car. Like I say, way back when, it was originally a column shift car, but it had been converted to a floor change. With that gearbox that we've got sitting over there, the new hole that it needs for the trans is actually basically the same sort of area, but on the other side of that structure. So it comes through. It'll be about there, and depending on where the seats end up, that's probably going to be quite nice. I've had a bit of a sit in the car, figuring out. You can see where the pillar is, where your seatbelt's mounted. So it's probably going to work out quite well to have the gear lever around there somewhere. The plan is to, might even follow through on this video. Actually, you might see it. The plan is to sit the gearbox on that trolley that's over there by the bench, lower the car down towards there, double check everything. I measured it all up, I know where it should go, and double check it. Cut the hole, put the gearbox on the end of the engine, put some structure in there to hold it, set up the gear lever and everything. We've already ordered some seats from NZKW. They should turn up so about Tuesday next week, I'd guess. And then the owner's going to come up from Wellington at some point in time, have a sit in the car with the seats all mocked up, and just make sure that, yeah, he likes where the gear lever is and the handbrake is and all that sort of carry on. Because, I mean, I'm not going to drive it, he is, so he needs to suit what he wants. So, anyway, I'll stop talking for a minute, and we should edit through to the next bit. Might be something a bit more interesting. I don't generally show actual progress in the videos, I just show what I've done, but hey, we might talk our way through this one if you like, so hold fire. Carrying on. You guys thought I was going to put it on that trolley, didn't you? I said I was going to, but really let's not be silly. You spend the money, and you get the gear, and you do the job properly. And then no one gets hurt, shit doesn't fall on the ground, it doesn't end badly. It is a Friday Arvo, so that's a good time for things to go really bad when they can go bad. So we'll use the proper gear. It's dropped on there. Safety first, lads. Safety first. So anyway, that goes on to there. Heads towards the drive shaft hoop, which we may actually still be able to use. That'll be really cool because I really hate making those things. But anyway, there's one there. That should be alright. Our gear lever ends up about here somewhere. Maybe there. You can see I put a little scratch there. That's my guesstimation of where it's going to end up. And let's poke that thing there up to there, see where we end up. We'll do some more marking if required, if my guesstimation's wrong. And cuddy time. Yeah, so that's pretty self-explanatory. It's around about the right angle for where the engine's sitting now, which is a little bit low at the back. And as you can see, there's the adapter plate. There's the gearbox. We still need to go up a little bit, and you can see the spigot bearing and the shaft there. So we're not quite high enough to line up with that, and still maybe 2 inches to come up at the back. And we've crashed into the trans tunnel just there. Pretty good through here. This is good. Not so bad. Just up there. It's not terrible. But big problem just there. So by the time that comes up a little bit, this is going to be an issue here. Not so bad on that side. So basically we'll take some material out through here and through there. Don't need to go any further than about there. Make some marks. Put the camera down, make some marks. Cuddy, and shouldn't be too hard at all. That should go in there with really only quite a small mod to the trans, which is pretty awesome. That is a massive gearbox compared to what was in the car. So yeah, we're doing all right there. So yeah, and that'll get there. Some work to do on these, obviously. I'll chop these through here somewhere, modify those so they come up to here instead, and then we'll put a bash shield down here and underneath the engine. That something comes up quite a long way when the engine's squared up properly. As I say, it's a bit low at the back. So we'll carry on. So it is exactly actually 6 o'clock, and for the first time we now have a VK56DE with supercharger attached to the 6-speed gearbox, and technically it's mounted in the car. Now that cross member is far from finished. We've actually got to put a couple of cutouts in that to run the exhaust through under that, otherwise the exhaust will be pretty damn close to the ground. So somewhere in the ballpark of here there'll be a bit of a notch out of that and some reinforcing put around that to give it some strength. That's 40 by 75 by 3mm thick steel, so she's pretty tough as it is at the moment. Obviously, like I say, we've got to cut some out, and it's been lined up. Gearbox is now smack bang in the middle where it needs to be. That's the centre line of the vehicle. Some vehicles they run them offset to suit the diff. This one we're not going to. We can just build the diff so that the pinion is in the centre of the car, unlike this one where it's off to the side, and the drive shaft ended up quite close to this side of the vehicle, so that wasn't ideal. So we'll make the diff so that that's in the middle. And that's that. So you actually got to see a little bit of progress as it happened in this video, more or less. Not actually working, it's a bit hard to hold the camera and do the actual work. There's only me working in here, so I don't have a offsider to hold the camera, so that's the deal you guys get. Alright, so it looks like this right hand side engine mount's just a touch low on the engine, this one here, so it'll be a little bit of a tweak required on that. That sump is sitting a little bit, you can actually see it compared to the cross member, it's just a touch down. There's not much in it, but might as well fix that while we're here. There's no point in getting everything all powder coated and looking pretty and having something like that wrong with it. It's not ideal. So I've spoken with, I think I may have said, the guys at Nissan King, and we're looking at maybe getting the top of a transmission tunnel from a 350Z or a G36, well V36 either, or Skyline, to have our gear lever boot and everything all mounted nicely, and our handbrake handle and all that sort of carry on. But yep, pretty happy. That's engine and gearbox technically bolted into the car, and apart from these G-clamps which are holding the caster arm brackets, which would they need to be bolted up properly, but apart from that we could bolt some things on, have the thing on the ground and push it around, take it, get its preliminary low volume cert inspection and all that sort of carry on if we need to. So pretty good. It's taken a bit of time to get to here because a lot of work, obviously, as some of you will understand. All this stuff here doesn't happen in 5 seconds, so there's still a bit to go in here, some gusseting, and we'll be able to run a bit from there. I might take it all the way back to here just to tie it all in quite nicely, you know, make it as strong as possible. There'll be a lot of torque in that motor, and it'll try and twist things around quite a lot, so we'll get that squared up. Sump isn't as bad as I'm making out, but I still want to get that right. It's about 2 or 3 mils lower on that left hand side, driver's side. So yep, alright, there you go, good progress, hope you're enjoying it. Get you in a few days, make a start on the exhaust next week, I reckon. That'll be good fun. Alright, cheers.